If I asked you to name a really hard achievement from a video game, you would probably say one that involves completing the game on the hardest difficulty or 100%ing the game. Both of these things are usually very hard to do and will have a low percentage of people who achieve them. Some games, like Cookie Clicker, have an absolutely insane amount of achievements you can get, and getting all these achievements would take an enormous amount of time. But where is the difficulty coming from? Like, yeah, beating a game on the hardest difficulty should be a hard thing to do. 100%ing a game should take a while. I have no issue with these being achievements, but the effect that they've caused is that developers aren't trying to make hard challenges for their players in the form of achievements, and they could just slap on those two as the super elite ultra rare achievements and call it a day. And while these are definitely achievements, these are just ways you can play your game naturally, and shouldn't be your only hard ones. If we look at Ultra Kill, a game I love, you'll find out that every single level has a unique challenge to it. And this isn't just some random objective that's lazily slapped on. No, the levels are built with these challenges in mind, and you have to figure it out. It's not just something that you can do by just normally playing the game. Some of the levels are built around the challenge or have a very specific feature in the level that helps with the challenge. Some of the challenges even help discover more obscure features in the game. Something like Nine Kings, which has inspired many things in my game Connobro Castle, has a lot of really cool achievements. I wouldn't necessarily call them hard, but they're certainly unique, and you definitely have to go out of your way to try and get them. This is what I want for my achievements, something you have to go out of your way to do, that makes you think, that makes you have fun, that lets you see the game or an objective in a different light, not something that's just lazily slapped on and called a challenge. Again, I'm fine with 100% achievements, or achievements that reward you on collecting or completing a big goal, but I think there's a balance between rewarding your player and also letting those rewards feel special, and 100%ing a game should not be easy to do, so I think it should be rewarded with an achievement. Again, my problem is with the 100% achievements or completing the game on hard mode achievements being the only challenging achievements in the game. Another game I want to look at is Horizon Forbidden West, a game that I also really enjoy. Most of the achievements in this game are just something you would do while playing the story or trying to 100% the game. However, there are some achievements that are a bit unusual and you would definitely have to go out of your way for, like the 60-second glide achievement or killing enemies with a specific weapon while gliding. I know both are kind of similar gameplay wise, but beggars can't be choosers, I guess. While I do think that some of the achievements in this game are just kind of like super generic things you do early in the story achievements, there are a lot that I think properly reward you for doing hard stuff. Horizon Forbidden West is a big game and there are a lot of things to do in it, so I do think that getting achievements for doing all types of blank do deserve a reward. Again, it's about balance. Now, like I just pointed out with Horizon Forbidden West, a game doesn't need to have every achievement be like the most out-of-the-box creative challenge I've ever seen. I'm gonna make like a full video about it saying how it's like the worst game in the world. No, it's really just not that serious, but something that I do really like to see, since it can elevate a game so much. So many achievements nowadays are just, oh, you've gone this too far through the story, or oh, you've just defeated this boss, or you know, here's something that you would do while most likely trying to beat the game, which are fine, but not if they're like your only achievements. If you want those types of achievements in your game, and like you do you, I can't stop you, we all game in different ways, that's not what I'm here to do with my game. Now, there is a solid reason why games pass out achievements like candy, and that's because it feels so good to get one. Just like getting a triple diabetes causing stash of candy at Halloween, it feels good to see that achievement meter go up. It's like a progress bar, and when you complete every achievement, there's no greater feeling. Games should be challenging, and when you beat a hard boss or get to a really high level, it feels good. And adding an achievement on top of that is just that dopamine boost that's gonna make you keep playing more. I personally love getting achievements, and I always strive to get as many as possible whenever I play a game. Getting an achievement can feel especially good when I feel that I've earned it by doing something really difficult. After I complete a game's story, I usually just pull up the achievement list and start grinding. That's how I play games. But no one is the same, and we all play games differently. I usually just like throw myself at enemies without a real plan and just throw caution to the wind. Some people meticulously plan out every single enemy encounter. Some people love getting achievements, and some people really don't care. What I'm trying to say here is that everyone plays games differently, and you have to market your achievements and really just your game too to all these kinds of players so that everyone enjoys your game. Obviously, I'm an achievements expert with 73 years of experience. 72 of those years I've just played games, and that just equals experience. And my way is the only way to make games and achievements. Obviously, that's a joke. The achievements that I make are going to be slightly catered to me without really thinking about it because, you know, bias, but I still hope to make them fun for everyone. So after all this thinking about achievements, I think it's finally time to add them in. This is going to be rough, so I hope you enjoy. So I'm really not going to bore you guys too much with the code since it's really not that complicated what is this? So I'm not going to bore you guys too much with the code since it's really not that complicated of a system in the first place, and I think it would be easier to just explain it by telling you guys how it works in like simple terms. Editor, put some fancy visualizations on screen. Alright, so I made a manager that goes into every scene and stores all the code required for doing all the data stuff for an achievement after it's been completed. Then an object, like an enemy, will check for whatever achievement it's checking for. Once all the requirements for that achievement are met, the enemy or whatever object will send a signal to the achievements manager saying, hey, complete this achievement. The achievement manager will then say okay and add the achievement into your save file and add a nice little UI pop-up letting you know that you complete the achievement. It will also grant whatever rewards are earned when completing that achievement, like essence, unit cards, or a boost card. Hopefully that's a good explanation. Anyway, that's the system and how it works, but I want to dive into my I can't speak today, but I want to dive into my individual achievements and explain what they are and why I added them, since that's probably more interesting to you guys. The first achievement I'm going to be talking about is the first one I thought of adding, which is an achievement for dealing 10 damage in one turn. I also have another achievement for dealing 20 damage in one turn too. I think both of these are great for challenging players, and it's also kind of a way to say, hey, you just did 10 damage in one turn. That's super epic. I definitely think you have to have an intent for dealing 10 damage in one turn, since you can only have 10 cards or less at a time, and it's not like they're always going to be ready at the same time and there's enough enemies laid out for you. I think the 20 damage one is way harder, I mean, obviously, since you would have to have some pretty powerful cards massively lined up to all go in the same turn and have 20 health worth of enemies, which would require getting pretty late into endless or a pretty late game level. Also, I'm writing this early in the morning and Google Docs is so bright. Why isn't there a dark mode on this? Oh my god. Anyway, another achievement I thought of was having one card, or technically one move, deal 8 or more damage. I have some crazy combos like Flood and Electric Shock, so this shouldn't be too hard. Mostly there to just say, hey, you can deal 8 damage with a single play. It's kind of similar to how the Ultra Kill challenges do it, where it's like, oh yeah, you can skip the Ferryman and stuff like that. Some easier ones I thought of that still kind of require you to go out of your way were drawing 3 cards in one turn, which just requires getting a bunch of levels in one turn, or using the Overclock card. There's also one for getting 5 enemies to spawn in one turn, which could be done in a variety of ways. There's one for upgrading 5 cards, which is something you can do kind of naturally, but I want the player to know that upgrading cards is good. There's one for leveling up 15 times in level, which is really just a hint to go play endless. I did these easy ones to try and show the range of the game and all the things you can do in it. I also added a grindy achievement for fun, which is skip 50 dialogues, which doesn't take as long as you might think, and it's something that can happen naturally with someone who plays the game a lot, and especially if you're like repeating levels, then you would probably skip the dialogue. There's also some Easter egg achievements like the cheese beacon, but I plan on adding a separate section for these, similar to like Cookie Clicker, where there are 2 types of achievements, one of the types being much harder to get than the other. My favorite section of achievements are one that involve enemies, and they all factor into the enemy's unique ability, which you have to manipulate in order to get the achievement, like having a grower get to 14 HP, which requires teleporting it back and letting it run. There's one for having a red mist hide up to 3 enemies, and another for letting a healer fully heal an enemy. Then there are the 100% achievements, which are there to reward players who do everything in the game. There's also one for completing the game's story. I do think it's important to remind you guys that my game gives rewards for achievements, so this is basically my way of rewarding players for finishing the story and 100%ing the game. And that concludes all the achievements I wanted to talk about, but if you have any achievement ideas, and I would love to read them in the comments. You guys absolutely cooked with the card ideas, so what are your ideas for achievements to be added to the game, or anything else you want to see fixed or added? Also, I low-key lied to you guys about that releasing a card every day, because I did not release the card every day. That is my bad. Alright, future me here. I just want to say that these achievements don't really sound too impressive, and that is my fault. I did talk a lot of game and then kind of didn't really back it up, but there are more achievements that I'm going to add. These aren't all of them. I also asked you guys for a very good reason. It's also kind of a little bit harder to make like kind of like really puzzle achievements with my game. Not really an excuse, but just a reason. So yeah, sorry about all that, but back to the video. So now that the achievements are done, well, what's next? Well, hopefully achievements are my last big coding adventure, and the only thing I'll be doing from now on is making levels and occasionally new enemies and cards. I plan to have boss-ish fights since my game is pretty flexible and can support them. Once I finish Connobro Castle though, there's still a lot more that I want to do. There are 2 games I really want to make soon, and the real question is which one do I do first, because I'm definitely going to be making both. Without spoiling too much, the first game would be like a sequel to Connobro Castle, but it would be a 2D platformer with a focus on combat and would center around a character from the game in a very different place, and would have a completely different gameplay style than Connobro Castle, but it would still continue the story in a very interesting way. The next idea is based off of a pretty good show I watched called Infinity Train, where basically someone is forcefully sent to this infinite train in order to solve their issues. Obviously I wouldn't just rip this off, but I do like the general idea and would want to make a game out of it. It would also be a 2D platformer, but it would be a lot more focused on puzzles and platforming. Comment which one you would like to see first. I'll start working on it eventually. I'm kind of busy right now, so that's why this took a bit billion years to do. And, you know, of course, I'll be making videos about the development process of that game, going over the whole thing from start to finish. I want to thank you guys for the support on the last videos. I've seen some really cool comments, and it just lets me know that I'm doing something right. Comment on your thoughts on this video, and I promise I'll read it. My subscriber count has literally doubled within the last month, which is just super awesome. You can get Connobro Castle for free on itch.io. Hopefully that updates out. Join my Discord for cool stuff. All links are in the description as always, and thank you for making it this far. Other than that, I don't really have anything to say, so yeah, see ya. Alright, one last thing. I also make all the music for my videos, so if you ever want to see like a cool video on like my songs, I have so many, or like the development process, I would love to do one. So yeah, like this video if you want to see that.